It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
From WREG in Memphis, this is News Channel 3 at 10.
First tonight, a Mid-South soldier killed, but it was not in the line of duty. Now his family wants justice. This tragic story tops the news tonight at 10. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Tragic indeed. Specialist D'Angelo Merriweather was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas, when he was killed this weekend at a house party.
Some tough news. WREG's Luke Jones spoke with his father and joined us live from the airport where the family is awaiting his return. Luke?
And the young man's father is thinking his body will arrive here sometime tomorrow. Tonight, though, he's trying to remember D'Angelo for who he was. The youngest of 6 children, but already a brave and fearless soldier who didn't deserve to die in such a senseless way.
Initially, he didn't want to do the military.
At first, reluctant to follow in his parents' footsteps, D'Angelo Merriweather eventually had a change of heart, and 2 years ago joined the armed forces.
He wanted to be a man. He was ready to grow up.
In his short career, Specialist Merriweather racked up a long list of honors and served for a time in South Korea, then at Fort Bliss, Texas, as an information technology specialist. But it was off base at a house party in El Paso, where the 21-year-old soldier was killed Saturday morning, as explained to his father, Donald.
There was a fight, presumably, that took place before all of this. He was not involved in that, and he was leaving because of the fighting.
Before he even reached the door, gunfire erupted, killing Merriweather and wounding 4 others. El Paso police say the gunman, 17-year-old Joseph Roca, barricaded himself inside the house afterward and streamed himself on Facebook before finally surrendering.
He's able to go over to Korea, where you would think you have more chances of being harmed, and then to come back home and have a punk to shoot you in the back.
A cowardly act, his father says, is worthy of only one punishment.
If there was any way under the sun that I can get the harshest death brought to him, I would ask for it.
So again, his family anticipates his body will be flown back here sometime tomorrow. Of course, we'll let you know if any funeral arrangements are finalized. We'll publicize those arrangements for you. In the meantime, though, Roca, the man police believe killed him, is being held in El Paso on a $1 million bond. We're live here at the airport tonight. Luke Jones, WREG News Channel 3.
Our appreciation for his service and condolences to the family tonight. Thank you, Luke. This has been a night of cleanup and recovery for many in the Mid-South after an early morning of devastation and destruction. Parts of the Mid-South hit hard by the pre-dawn severe weather that tore through buildings and sent people ducking for cover. The damage was especially bad in southeast Memphis and also in Parkway Village, where a tornado rumbled through with strong winds up to 110 miles an hour.
Now, lots of wind and rain. WREG's Andrew Ellison is live on Almo Avenue, that's near Perkins and American Way, to show us how people there are dealing with this chaotic day. Andrew?
As Stephanie, a number of homes in this area are unlivable tonight because of trees that fell on top of them. This house right here behind me is one of the worst cases we've seen. As you can tell, that tree crushed most of the house. There were terrifying moments when it hit and terrifying moments after it hit. A sobering reminder of what Mother Nature can do.
A terrible sight.
Really terrifying for Miguel Harris because that's his mom's house, and she was in bed when high winds blew this tree over around 6 a.m. As you can see, it crushed most of her home.
It hurt me to see that.
Harris lives across the street and ran over as soon as he heard the commotion. He says he quickly called 911 because he couldn't get into his mom's bedroom.
I just kept talking to her until we was able to get some help.
Help in the form of first responders who had to pull the 67-year-old out through the roof. Her son says she has some cuts and bruises, but other than that, she's okay.
I'm just thankful to God that everybody's still here.
But the house is unlivable, and so are the nearby Cottonwood apartments. The National Weather Service says the complex was hit by a tornado this morning, with winds up to 105 miles an hour.
I heard a boom.
The sound of buildings being torn apart, the damage so bad the complex issued a mandatory evacuation.
I ain't never been in no tornado, hurricane, and nothing like that.
And now this tenant spending the night in a Red Cross emergency shelter. It's at the Marion Hale Community Center on Willow Road and open to anyone displaced by the storm. Parts of southeast Memphis were torn up too, including this neighborhood near I-240 and 385, where people are helping each other clean up.
That's a great thing for the neighborhood to come together.
A positive spin on a bad situation, but a close call for Richard Kilpatrick when this tree fell on top of his house, where he cares for his ailing wife. Thankfully, his attic took most of the damage, and she wasn't hurt.
And as long as she's okay, I'm all right. She's the greatest thing ever happened to me outside of Jesus, and he gave her to me.
The Red Cross says that shelter we just mentioned will be open as long as it's needed. We have that exact address on our website, WREG.com. Live in Parkway Village, Andrew Ellison, WREG News, Channel 3.
Good to see neighbors helping each other out tonight. Thank you, Andrew. Meanwhile, Tennessee Congressman Steve Cohen is trying to get federal assistance for those affected by this morning's storms. He's asking Shelby County emergency officials for a detailed report of the damage so federal disaster relief is made available quickly. Congressman Cohen says he's grateful no serious injuries or fatalities have been reported.
People in Tyronza, Arkansas are also assessing the damage from a tornado there. It was just as powerful, if not worse, than the one in Memphis. The town's mayor says 84 homes and businesses are damaged. 7 of those homes are no longer inhabitable. The American Red Cross is giving our friends and neighbors there a place to stay tonight.
MLGW crews are working hard to get all the lights back on as thousands of people remain in the dark tonight. Right now, 220 outages are affecting more than 10,000 customers. That's a big difference from the 43,000 who were without power this morning. MLGW estimates crews will restore power to 80% of those customers by midnight. Well, the weather tonight is a completely different story, and we are all the better for it. Mostly clear skies and some rapidly dropping temps.
Yeah, thank goodness it's different. We could use the change. Let's get a first check of your forecast from weather expert Jim Jaggers. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Stephanie. Yeah, we do have a lot calmer weather right now. Storm Tracker 3S is even showing clearing skies, but that cold front is yet to move on through. We're still getting a strong southerly component to our winds, which indicates to us that the front isn't through yet. But at 4 o'clock this morning, it was certainly going through here in Tyronza, Arkansas, as the thunderstorms loomed over there. And then 6 o'clock in the morning moved into Shelby County, provided us with all our excitement, our high winds today. Right now, the temperature is 60 degrees here at News Channel 3. Our high of 72 was reached earlier today, early in the morning hours. 60 is our current temperature and the low for the day. But look at these wind gusts up to 53 miles per hour at Memphis International Airport, causing some damage there. And over 2 inches of rain in Blytheville, and over almost 2 inches of rain at the airport in Dyersburg. Well, we're going to get down into the 40s tonight, but at least skies will be clear. We're going to have a couple of chilly days and warming up temperatures in the forecast coming up. Greg, Steph?
See you soon. Thank you, Jim. Now, new at 10, Memphis police are looking for a couple of guys accused of robbing a woman in Cooper Young in the middle of the morning. Police say the woman met the 2 men at Celtic Crossing Friday night, and she left to go to a party with them. Now, when they took her back to her car around 10 o'clock the next morning, she says the men started asking her about drugs. She says after she told them she doesn't do drugs, she says the guys pushed her to the ground and stole her purse and keys. Police have not released any information about the alleged suspects. A Memphis man is indicted on murder charges in the death of his estranged wife. According to prosecutors, Michael McKinney shot and killed Laterica Stripling in front of their 2 children at the Crescent Bluffs Apartments in downtown Memphis in April. U.S. Marshals arrested him 2 weeks later in southeast Memphis. It took a while for the grand jury to hear that case, but they finally delivered a murder indictment along with charges of reckless endangerment and gun violations. He's now being held in jail without bond.
Turning now to news across the nation, a brush fire is threatening some 200 homes, the exclusive Pacific Palisades area of Los Angeles. Low winds helped firefighters today as they doused the blaze that burned more than 30 acres. LA fire officials ordered mandatory evacuations as the fire approached the homes, many of which are multi-million-dollar houses owned by celebrities. No buildings were damaged and no one was hurt. Well, Syrians are showing their anger as American troops move out of their country. Men and women threw rotten potatoes at U.S. military vehicles as they left the Mideast nation crossing into Iraq. At one point, a woman is seen standing in front of an armored truck and a man can be heard yelling insults at the troops inside the vehicles. A U.S. brokered ceasefire between Turkey and Syria is set to expire tomorrow. Boeing and its investors could be out of as much as $53 billion following the revelation that a pilot detected issues that could have prevented a crash. Last week, the company finally gave Congress the content of instant messages sent between two senior pilots on the MAX program. The messages from November 15, 2016 show the stabilization system was running rampant during a simulator test.
Coming up, tragedy somehow averted. A driver's car was accidentally impaled by giant logs. How he escaped alive, coming up. Plus,
it's difficult to put it into words, the mixture of emotions and feelings that you have when you're going out the door the first time.
women making history. These NASA astronauts share their groundbreaking experience in space. It's a first. We'll tell you their next goal after the break.
Your number one 10 p.m. newscast, WREG News Channel 3.